Hello and welcome to Ukraine Today's Press Review. I'm Rahim Rahimtullah. In today's program, we'll look at responses in the international media to the peace deal for East Ukraine signed on Thursday in Minsk by the leaders of Ukraine, Russia, Germany and France. The agreement envisions a ceasefire coming into effect on Sunday morning. It's the second such truce for the region. The first one, signed in September, failed to hold. We begin today with an article from the BBC which asks who benefits from the Minsk peace deal. The writer Bridget Kendall suggests that long-term Ukraine may be the winner here. Although the document does give insurgent-held areas broad powers of independence, it doesn't grant them the kind of self-government which was previously on the cards. She says underpinning the document is an assumption of Ukrainian sovereignty, that in the end all rebel-held territories and borders should come back under Kiev's ultimate control. Kendall says the Ukrainian government has a chance to improve its image in the eastern regions if it regains the territories. What better way, she says, to make locals feel more receptive to the idea of being Ukrainian than for them to see Kiev as a benevolent force which takes care of welfare. Our second piece today comes from Deutsche Welle, which says that the second Minsk agreement leaves many questions unanswered. Ingo Mantefel argues that the New Deal faces many potential pitfalls, just like the previous ceasefire, which in the end did not hold. He says East Ukraine needs a demilitarized zone, which can be effectively monitored by the OSCE, but finds it very questionable whether the OSCE can afford to do this because the new agreement only assigns it this monitoring task in a few and fairly vague words. For our final piece today, we turn to seasoned commentator Leonid Bershidsky writing in Bloomberg. He describes the Minsk plan as a time bomb wrapped in a peace deal. Such an ominous prediction, he says, is the result of the fact that the new agreement is too contradictory to work long-term. It calls on Ukraine to hold local elections in militant-held territory, but this, he says, is a clear contradiction with the military part of the new agreement, leaving the separatist gains of the last 5 months in limbo, formally ruled from Kiev but militarily held by the rebels. Bershidsky says the deal looks good for Russia, whereas Ukraine will have a tougher time presenting it as a victory. Moscow still has significant leverage over Ukrainian politics. In fact, all in all, the agreement is as close to a deal on Putin's terms as decency allows. That's why, as he came out of the talks in an apparently breezy mood, he quipped that this was not the best night of his life, but a good morning. So our commentators appear split on the pros and cons of the deal. The BBC's Bridget Kendall suggests that long-term it could be good for the Ukrainian government. Leonid Bershidsky says it's more of a victory for Russia. Either way, everyone agrees that it leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Ultimately, it won't mean much if the ceasefire planned for Sunday morning doesn't take root. Without that, further political steps to defuse the conflict in Ukraine are unlikely to get very far. That wraps up our press review for today. We won't be here over the weekend, but join us again on Monday when we'll have news of the East Ukraine ceasefire alongside all the latest developments in the region. From the newsroom in Kiev, this is Ukraine Today.